Hi there, this is Stuart Mills of Mills Fleet Farm and Huldra Arms. Today we're going to be working through a customer service issue with the Huldra Mark IV Tactical Elite. Ken from Wisconsin has sent his Tactical Elite in with a letter explaining a possible failure to feed issue. Ken sent his Tactical Elite in to us after talking extensively with our customer service person and also our AR-15 armorer / technical support person. Upon receiving the rifle, we did a thorough examination of it. The first thing we looked at was the bolt and the bolt carrier. We took that apart. Everything was working hunky-dory. I did apply lubrication somewhat liberally, but everything seemed to be in good working order. Also, we removed the action spring and the buffer from the receiver extension. Everything seemed to be fine there too. Next thing we did after inspecting the barrel and the rest of the rifle as well as the trigger mechanism is look at the piston system itself. We blew air through this piston part right here and also checked the piston block as well. Everything, at least from a visual examination, seemed to be in good and proper working order. Ken also sent in this magazine right here. This is a ammo storage component magazine. Just looking at it, feeding some rounds into it, it appeared to be working fine. So if it wasn't the rifle, if it wasn't the magazine that was causing the failure to feed, it must be the ammunition. So why do I think it's the ammunition? Well, to start with, it's how the M4 was designed. First of all, the Eugene Stoner started with a 20-inch barrel on his Armor Light rifle, and this is a direct impingement gas tube off a 20-inch barrel. Now, it is quite a bit longer than the carbine length. So when the M4 came into existence, they cut that 20-inch barrel down to a 14.5-inch barrel, and the gas tube went from this length down to darn near almost that length right there, which can be seen by measuring up the carbine length, because this is a piston system where it would be in a direct impingement. So really we're looking at a length of about right there. So mark that on the Tactical Elite here, and if this was a direct impingement, the gas block would sit right there. So we'd be going from a gas block that's right there in a 20-inch, and it's quite a bit shorter for a carbine length. What happens? Well, first of all, you have hotter, dirtier gas that much closer to the chamber. Not only that, but the timing has been thrown way off, and it knocks back the bolt carrier that much quicker. So why is that a bad thing, and why is that a problem for a direct impingement rifle? Well, the first thing is that the casing hasn't had an adequate opportunity to contract. When a bullet is shot, this casing expands to fill the chamber. And if it is pulled out before it has a chance to contract, you're going to be breaking some of the extractors on the bolt. Well, in their infinite wisdom, the first thing they did is, well, let's make that extractor a heck of a lot tougher. Well, they did that, but then they started pulling off the top of the casing right there, leaving the rest of the spent casing in the chamber. Well, that's a problem. Well, we have to slow down the action now. So what they've done is they put heavier buffers and action springs into this rifle to counterbalance that. Well, and that's fine. But what you have is an overgas system. And the Huldra Arms, Adams Arms piston system corrects that overgassed system, and that is why some underpowered ammunition will work in a direct impingement mid-length or carbine length system, but won't work in a properly balanced Huldra Arms, Adams Arms system. Everything that's in the military supply chain will work perfectly in this rifle, because that's what this rifle is tuned for. And even further, Adams Arms has included a feature that with a push of the button and a turn of the knob, now it is calibrated for use of a suppressor on the end, because as we know, suppressors will overgas a system. Adams Arms, again, with just a turn of the button, has now calibrated the system and is perfectly balanced for ammunition within the military supply chain with use of a suppressor. So now we have 7 different manufacturers of ammo, which are all sold at Fleet Farm. We have the PMC, which is going to be loaded in that magazine right there. We have the XM193, which I know will work in the Huldra system. We've got a wild card right here, Brown Bear, which is non-corrosive out of Russia. Could be underpowered. We may have some failures to feed with that because, again, this system is fine-tuned. Winchester, I suspect this, based on previous experience, to be properly powered. Again, WPA, Classic Military, 223, non-corrosive. We're going to see on that one. Wolf, 223, 55 grain. Up in the air, that may be on the line, but I'm fairly confident the American Eagle 223 50 grain will function properly. So because we're using Ken's gun in this YouTube video, we're going to add in a few extra little fun toys. We had a foregrip, which we're going to put in the box. When we return it to them, we had a couple QD mounts, which on the Tactical Elite is, I considered, standard equipment because we have a QD mount in both the Samson rail and in the Voltor iMod stock. So if you need a sling, you need sling swivels. And hey, because we got sling swivels, we're going to include a sling. And every rifle that we handle from a customer, we want to make sure that it is properly protected. So the first thing I did was put some rail covers on there. We're just going to keep these on there when we put it in the box and send it back. So let's get out to the Northern Command Training Center. We're here at the Northern Command Training Center, a secret undisclosed location, south of Brainerd, Minnesota, but yet north of St. Cloud. We have 7 magazines preloaded with a variety of different ammunition. The 8th magazine is the one that was sent in with the gun, and it's loaded with XM193 Federal 55 grain. We have the Wolf 223 55 grain. We have the WPA Military Classic 223 Remington. We have the American Eagle 223 Remington 50 grain. We have the Winchester 55 grain 5.56. We have the Brown Bear 223 in 62 grain. And then a PMag loaded with XM193. And finally, the PMC 5.56 NATO in a 62 grain. To establish a baseline, we're going to be using this PMag loaded with XM193 55 grain ammunition from American Eagle. If the Tactical Elite runs fine with this ammo, with this magazine, we have established it's an ammunition issue, not necessarily the gun or the operating system. Well, to start with, we're going to insert the magazine, lock it in. It locks in perfectly. We're going to close the bolt. The ammunition feeds without an issue. So let's run a few rounds through this magazine, establish a baseline, and make sure it is a issue of underpowered ammunition. Well, that went exceedingly well. We found out that it's not an issue with the rifle at all. The ammunition fired flawlessly, no misfires, no misfeeds. The magazine locked the bolt back. One thing that Ken did do a wonderful job of is sighting in this True Glow red dot sight. It's not going to replace any of my aim points, but I'm going to pick up a couple of myself because this is a fun sight to play around with, and quite frankly, at 60 yards here, I was banging that target just about every time. So this is the magazine that Ken sent with the gun, and I think this was the magazine he was having problems with. So I'm going to insert another magazine, put my ear probe back in, and see if we have any issues with the magazine, or if there's any failure to feeds, misfires, failure to lock back. So we're going to check it through. We ran through another magazine of ammo, no misfires, no misfeeds, and looks like it's running just fine. The magazine did cause the bolt to lock back, so I'm going to put it back on safe here real quick. And we've established a baseline. So we know the ammo storage component magazine that came with it works just fine. The PMag works just fine. XM193 works just fine. So let's next transition to the Wolf 223 in the 55 grain. There, we have an issue now. This is Wolf. I think we got 2, maybe 3 rounds out of that. I think it was 2. Yep, we got a failure to feed with the Wolf. So what I'm guessing what happened, because the Wolf is underpowered, it did not push the bolt and the bolt carrier all the way back to cycle another round. Well, I think we've established that the way the Adams Arms piston system is tuned to make sure that it runs properly with full powered ammo and that isn't overgassed is not consistent with underpowered import ammo. So let's put this magazine away, and next we're going to go to the WPA Classic, which is 223 non-corrosive Berdan primered in 55 grain full metal jacket. Put my ear pro back on here real quick, then I'll close the bolt and we'll see how it cycles. Well, to be candid with you folks, I had misgivings about WPA being full powered and working through this rifle. The other thing too is this is pretty accurate. I'm not the world's best marksman. I'm shooting from a standing position, but I was able to put just about every round on target. Next up is American Eagle 223 50 grain jacketed hollow point. It's brass ammo. It's in a older Sea Products magazine that I souped up with a Magpul Ranger mag plate on it. Insert the mag properly. Let's get that closed in there. And let's put about 20 rounds downrange and see if we have any cycling problems. Bolt lock back just fine. Every single one of them cycled. No problems with the magazine. No problems with the ammunition. Really, so far, the only thing we've had problems with is the Wolf. So let's go on to the Winchester next. There we go. 20 rounds of Winchester 55 grain full metal jacket, brass ammunition. Absolutely no issues with the PMag, bolt lock back, every single one of them fed properly. No issues with that. Next, we're on to the brown bear. There we go. Okay, let's take a look here real quick. Yep. Failure to feed. Import ammunition, it's underpowered. We have a finely tuned system that's balanced for ammunition that's within inside of the military supply chain to make sure the action itself is not overgassed. Overgassing is a huge problem when it comes to combat weapons. But we'll put a few more through it and see if we can get another stoppage. The rest of the brown bear ammo fed just fine. We did have one failure to feed. You know, it's probably a good plinking ammo if you're just going to mess around with this gun, but you're going to have to put up with some misfeeds due to the low price. And last we have the PMC in 5.56 NATO. This is 62 grain ammo. Again, an old PMag that's souped up with a Ranger floor plate on it. And it's green tipped ammo, so if you like fashionable ammo, that's pretty. I think I have a pair of shoes this matches. That was our last magazine. No failure to feeds, locked back properly. This X-Tac ammo works just perfectly in this gun. We're back at our workshop. We had an enjoyable afternoon at the Northern Command Training Center testing this rifle. What we found out, the rifle works perfectly. Using full-powered ammunition, flawless. As we predicted, the XM193 is probably one of the most perfect ammunitions for this rifle. It absolutely ran flawlessly. It's what I have in use for all of my rifles. This is a good quality round, made in the USA, just south of here in Anoka, Minnesota. The PMC, I never really shot a whole lot of PMC, but we put 20 rounds through this Tactical Elite and it worked absolutely perfect. The X-Tac, from a standing position, very accurate round. Winchester. Winchester name's been around for a long time. It's synonymous with quality, and quality is what we got. No issues with the 55 grain Winchester. Everything worked perfectly. And another federal brand, American Eagle 223, 50 grain. No issues there. And again, good quality ammunition. Now the ammunition imported from Russia that Fleet Farm sells, we tested the WPA, the Wolf, and the Brown Bear. It pretty much worked as expected, with one surprising exception. The WPA ran flawlessly. 20 rounds, absolutely no issues. Every round fed perfectly, and the bolt locked back after the last round was ejected. And with a perfectly tuned piston system such as ours, that was encouraging with the WPA. The Brown Bear was interesting, but not as perfect as the WPA. We had one failure to feed, but it locked back at the end. You know, for a good plinking round that you don't have to really depend on every time, it may be something to check out, but we did have one failure to feed on that one. Now the Wolf behaved as expected. We had some failure to feeds, and quite frankly, it was obvious that it just wasn't the right round for this gun. We thank Ken, and we thank you for watching, and no, this isn't going to be an every time event. Please do not send your rifle in to be serviced so we can include it in a video so you can get free stuff. So this is a one-time deal only, and Ken is the beneficiary of this. Find us on Facebook and see us on our website, HuldraArms.com. As always, we appreciate it. We're your eye and ear protection. Thank you.